Andrew Mountbatten Windsor is a lot of things, but he is not a prince of a guy. As we have seen in the last few weeks with the Epstein files, his arrest, and every day more and more comes out about the kind of person he is and that kind of person that we don't want anything to do with. To talk more about it, thrilled to be joined by Mike Wixson. How are you, Mike?
Good. Thanks for having me in on this discussion. Wow. The fall from grace.
The fall from grace. And just before we started filming this, just this morning, it came out the Britain's House of Commons has approved the release of papers related to former Prince Andrew's appointment as a trade envoy.
Yeah.
So, and that's where a lot of this comes from, that he was passing secret, privileged information to Jeffrey Epstein when he was working on behalf of the UK and the British government.
It was not so long ago, it was only the tabloids in Britain that seemed to have a real handle on what was going on with the royal family, and they were digging deep all the time on that. Now it's not the tabloids with headlines like this. Andrew Windsor Mountbatten uses taxpayer dollars to get massages on
Is that one of them now?
Extravagant envoy business. So now that's all come into question too. Wow. But let's go back just a couple of minutes, because let's talk a little bit about who this guy is and what we know about him. What we know about him is that he is widely disliked as one of the ugliest personalities in the royal family.
Okay, well, this is a little background before we get to the ugly era.
Yeah.
In the early 80s, he is a helicopter pilot in the Falklands War for the Royal Air Force and rescues dozens of Royal Navy sailors after they got bombed in this harbor off the coast of the Falkland Islands. He comes back in 82 after the war is over, and he's a bit of a hero. Decorated pilot. And then it was like the tabloids, Randy Andy. He was dating a softcore porn star named Koo Stark. Oh, nudge, nudge, wink, wink, say no more. That's just Andrew. He was a lovable rogue, a bit of a rake, as they would say.
Yeah.
Chasing the ladies.
He's a playboy, international playboy.
You know, but then things took a turn, Mike.
Well, it's interesting because during if you look back, and I would encourage people to take a look at some of the interviews with former Secret Service members and protectors of the royal family, there's a consistent story about this guy that is not a pleasant picture, that he was arrogant, rude, mean.
Just not a nice person.
He was just so entitled that he stood out among all of the royal family as the most entitled of all of them, even surpassing the Queen herself.
Now that says a lot to me, doesn't it?
It does. That, you would be, that the staff would say the rest of the royal family treated us with dignity and kindness, and he was just an arrogant, mean, self-entitled guy, or entitled actually. And I think that even starts in his childhood. He was Mummy's favorite little boy. Edward never had a look at the throne. No. Anne never had a look at the throne. They were down the chain of succession, and it wasn't going to be in the cards for them. They got on with privileged, beautiful lives, keeping to themselves and doing things in their own regard. Andrew sits out in my mind as a jealous, I'm more handsome than the future king. Why shouldn't I have the spotlight? And that's how we see him a lot through the 80s, the 90s. Just this guy with a crazy ex-wife.
But we didn't know behind the scenes. Like, he still had that public veneer of, maybe there's some issues, but it's Prince Andrew. The ugliness hadn't emerged yet.
Well, I think that hadn't emerged, I think, is the key.
Yes.
But it's obviously, this is a guy who, in a couple of telltale books that have been written about the royal family, Andrew had been bragging to people that he slept with thousands of women, and, that his marriage was a farce. And, he just really always positioned himself as a playboy on the make. And that now is apparent. But we didn't see it. You're right. We didn't see it behind the veneer of the palace gates.
And now, as everything's unfolding, the original photo with him and Virginia and Ghislaine Maxwell, which he denied, then it's been proven. And then the documents, the releasing, basically handing over top secret UK documents from the British government to Epstein while he's working for the government, and then his arrest. And that famous photo that was taken with him in the back of the car, looking completely
You can
stunned.
see his brain up his nose, or lack thereof.
And so what happened is now you're looking at a guy who has gotten away with everything his entire life, having to face the music. And personally, I don't think he's going to stand up to questioning. If they start putting the screws to him and say, hey, we want answers, blah, 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 this is what's going to happen if you're convicted. But he's going to sing a box set.
I think all they're going to have to do is say, Andrew, we're taking your tea away.
Yeah.
And he'll be like, no.
I know
got
everything.
all the names.
What do you want to know?
I have a feeling you're right about that, because he doesn't seem, his scruples don't seem to be in place. He's a terrible liar. I mean, if you remember the BBC interview, no, I don't sweat. You see, I was a hero in the Falklands. No, you weren't. You were a second crew member on the helicopter, and
No hero says they're a hero, Mike.
Exactly.
They never say that.
That's why you'll never hear me say it, Jim.
No hero in the military would ever say in an interview. They do not.
No, and he constantly refers to his service for that 8-week period or whatever it was in his life. I'm sure it was several years, but as his anchor to being a good guy, being a good citizen, and an honorable guy.
But the stories are coming out. So you alluded to a former member of the Royal Family Secret Service was on the Australian 60 Minutes, a great show, very well researched. This was 2022. This 4 years ago, this Secret Service member was using harsh language to say that was the unofficial nickname of him among the Secret Service.
What was the nickname they used to Jim?
I don't know if we can say that in our podcast.
Oh, no, we could never say that on our podcast.
So this is 4 years ago.
I don't think the word, though, is as
not
crude,
there.
is as crude there as it is here.
Here it's
so now you know what word we're saying. That was his security nickname.
Yeah, on the walkie-talkie.
Yeah.
Among the Buckingham Palace.
Yeah.
So now you're seeing all the dominoes fall. So in the last Prince Andrew, Peter Mendelsohn, just yesterday, former UK ambassador to the USA, arrested. Thornborn Jagland, former PM in Norway, he's in trouble. Thomas Pritzker, the chairman of Hyatt Hotels, stepped down. Brad Karp, the former chairman of one of the biggest law firms in America, stepping down. Sultan Ahmad bin Suleiman, he's in trouble now. Casey Wasserman, the CEO of Wasserman Media, huge media group.
Absolutely.
Chapel Roan was one of his clients, no more. He's had to step down as all the ugliness is being laid out in public for everyone to see. The dominoes are falling. And while the statute of limitations in America says that after 5 years, you can't charge them for sexual assault, they could still take a hit by losing their status, losing their job, losing their career.
So, okay, now let me take this on a little bit of a journey, if I may.
Please.
We're seeing the UK make real serious hits. The royal family. We've got former
the ambassador.
Diplomats. We have former politicians, very high-end business people, all being called to the floor, all being investigated, and some of them being arrested and questioned and released to this point. But we're starting to see the UK take steps. France has said that they won't do business with the ambassador anymore for the U.S. out of Britain. It's not welcome. So the world, certainly in the UK and on the European stage, they're giving up their own. They're throwing their own on the fire. Royal family members. What does this say to the U.S.? What does this say to the FBI? What does this say to the White House and to Americans? It's time to put yours on the floor for us to examine as well.
There's been some prominent congressmen and Congress representatives, men and women, on both sides of the ledger in the United States who have put their careers on the line on both sides, getting answers. And how could, if you were with the Attorney General and the Department of Justice and the FBI, say you didn't know anything. Say you weren't aware of anything. And that's not going to cut it. The average American, hardcore Republican, hardcore Democrat, feels the same about the allegations and the stories and the evidence being unfolded. They're disgusted by it. They want answers. They want people held accountable. And in today's world, Mike, with everyone struggling to pay rent, to feed themselves, to just basic human existence because of the cost of living, to see these wealthy, entitled people take the fall, they're standing and applauding. Every day there's a story that someone's stepped down, lost her job, is under investigation, or like, keep it going.
And in fact, if the U.S. now starts to stall in that process on the global stage, they really need to do some tap dancing, or they've got to start. When the king is throwing his brother to the police without hesitation, that's an indication that Trump needs to open the doors to these and push for real court appearances, real charges, real arrests, a deeper investigation, clarity for the general public about where we're at with this thing soon, or there's going to be a lot of backlash worldwide.
I couldn't agree more. Now, if they can't get them because of the statute of limitations for sexual assault, remember back in the day, they arrested Al Capone on tax evasion.
Yeah.
And they convicted him.
Yeah.
And maybe, just maybe, all the stories about privileged, top secret, classified information being traded around, that will be the downfall of some of these people. And I don't care how they get them, but just I want them in front of Congress in a court facing the music.
Yeah, I think that's what generally in North America we're now watching what's happening in other parts of the world where many countries are saying, okay, we're gonna pull this into an investigation. The FBI's at the Olympics, hanging out drinking with the hockey team. There's a king's brother being thrown on the fire.
Yeah.
Our FBI director is
Prakash Patel pounding beers with Team USA.
Now I know why his eyes look that way. He's hammered. So having said that, that weird buggy-eyed little guy should be looking at what's going on here and see that he needs to step up and he needs to push back at Trump, who he obviously is a puppet of. Pam Bondi looked like a complete idiot over this.
She's lost all credibility. All credibility. None. She has none left. And President Trump is obviously everything he's doing. Hey, guys, telling Team USA, why don't you join me at the State of the Union address?
Right.
He has almost 40% of the U.S. Navy assets are off the coast of Iran, threatening for military action.
And that, I'm sorry, is a bit of a distraction in itself, as Iran is sitting there saying, are we meeting today or not? And every day he's just pushing more fleet toward that country. I'm sorry, this feels like a distraction because
Of course it is.
If you stop Trump right now and said, okay, stop everything. We want to look at all of these names on the list and we want them all arrested until we know more.
Because we know right now, if all of a sudden they start lobbing cruise missiles and smart bombs towards Iran, the news cycle goes away from Epstein to what's going on off the shores of Iran 24/7 in American news.
Yeah. And it could actually, the way that the news works and the way people digest the news now, within 7 days, this Epstein thing in America literally could dissipate for another 6 months until enough people start screaming again. And I believe that's what the White House is counting on.
Last week, Paul mentioned a movie that Robert De Niro was in, and Woody Harrelson, I believe, called Wag the Dog.
Yeah, I remember.
And it's a fictional movie about a president in disgrace, in turmoil, facing the heat, and creates a fictional war to take the heat off him.
Yeah.
It's very well done, well written. I really liked it. But this is playing out in real life.
It does feel like that to me.
This is the exact same scenario that was portrayed in the movie.
This is a guy who's fighting Congress, can't get bills passed that he wants, can't do the tariffs that he wants, is trying to find a way to tax the whole world. No, he's constantly creating a smoke screen that you can't see past to see what's really going on. He's the guy that was going to drain the swamp. But the swamp is up 6 or 7 inches since this guy came back in. And he's drinking
swamp water.
Yeah.
And so the State of the Union address tonight, there are so many politicians on both sides, Democrat and Republican, that are going to be in that room when he speaks, that they're demanding answers from him. They don't want to hear platitudes. They don't want to hear all this stuff about they want Epstein file answers. They want unredacted. They want names. They want names to fall.
Yeah.
They want, think about this. I mean, if half the allegations are true, the age of these young girls, young boys, these kids, it's the most depraved, beyond the pale crime I can even imagine.
Back to Andrew for a moment.
Please do.
Now, he's been arrested. The charges that they're bringing up on are state secrets, and
yes.
I don't believe a lot of that will hold. And if it does, it'll be a slap on the wrist. And I think that it's also a little bit of a distraction to protect the prince from any of this other dirty goings on. And because otherwise that would be the first point of investigation, wouldn't it?
Absolutely. But for Andrew Mountbatten Windsor now, You're looking at all that he's known his whole life is over. No more going to the Royal Ascot.
Oh, wait, is it Mountbatten Windsor or Windsor Mountbatten?
See, I always get that mixed up.
Yeah, who cares anymore?
Anyways, so basically, Andrew, no more high-end, the class system, the upper class of England's still a thing. He's not welcome there anymore.
It's all he knows.
It's all he knows.
Like his entitlement and his life has all been built around.
Yeah.
I can do anything I want.
And go anywhere I want.
I can use he's a clout thrower like I've never seen in my life.
Clout's gone.
Yeah.
And so it's almost a fait accompli that he's going to be pulled out of the succession of the royal family. That's done.
And his wacky ex-wife, with all due respect, actually, his wacky ex-wife is in some mental hospital in Switzerland that costs $24,000 a day. Where is she getting her money? Where is he getting his money?
$24,000 a day?
A day.
Wow.
So, I mean, she's had a lot of pressure on her, though, being that she probably knows everything that Andrew did, and she'll be the next to be
But she's named quite a bit in the Epstein files as well.
Oh, yeah, because she loves money more than anything in the whole world, which I believe is the source of all of this. Greed. Ghislaine Maxwell, her dad put her up in a lifestyle of being a princess. And I've said this before. She needed to follow that money. Epstein was a good route toward that money. It gave her the lavish lifestyle that she was accustomed to. And that might have been the formula that they used with everybody else.
Mike, once upon a time, you would listen to a podcast or read a blog and people would dismiss it as conspiracy theory, talking about the rich elites. What are they talking about? Blah, blah, blah. That doesn't exist. Well, it does exist. It does exist. Some of the wealthiest, most powerful, connected people on the planet were doing this for years and feeling that they could do what they want, when they want, however they wanted, and there's nothing anyone can do to stop them. And the average person out there around the world, 4 years of war in Ukraine, everything going on with people hurting in every continent in the world, going through something, struggling. They're like, I've had it with these people.
Yeah,
I want them to fall.
You're right. The elites are expected to fall by almost all of society now, who can't handle honestly, the divide between rich, the super elite and poor has made the middle class almost entirely disappear. And everybody's tired of that. And if their behavior is untoward or disgusting and vile, well, yeah, society wants them to come down.
I think of everyone who had to go to jail because they had 2 joints in their pocket or got in a bar fight or, simple crimes, non-violent, bar fight, but, compared to what being talked about at Epstein Island.
No, you're right. Like there's so much, even the elite find themselves in different positions. Look at Ghislaine Maxwell. She's at a ranch where she can go outside and do things. She has a life to some degree compared to other people who are in this same scenario.
And look at Epstein. He was originally convicted.
Oh, but that Andrew, he's going to squeal like a pink little pig. He totally is. So the next thing that happens, I think, is that names start to arrive.
Right. Prominent names, photos. I can't imagine he's so stupid he wouldn't have some kind of, because they have taken his cell phone and his laptop.
Yeah.
So even if he denies stuff, they're going to be able to, the forensic IT people, get everything off his electronic devices and have proof. Yeah. And they'll be able to put it in front of his face saying, well, this is what happened.
No. I don't need a burner phone. I have full protection with my... I also think that his protection and his own family are going to turn against him as soon as names start to arrive, because I can't believe for 1 second that the king himself was not named in this.
Well,
he's too closely tied to his own brother.
It's
a miracle that Charles does not show up in here when his brother is all over it. Come on.
So 3 years ago, they did a poll and the royal family rated around 80% favorability rate among people of the UK.
Okay.
It's hovering at 50 now in the last few weeks and dropping.
Yeah.
So it would not be a shock to me that a year from now, it's not Prince William, it's King William.
Do you think King William will be a thing, or does it end with Charles based on all of this? and the people of Britain and the Commonwealth saying enough with the royal family.
It would be King William and a leaner, meaner royal family taking less money from the UK taxpayers with less waste, less wealth, less opulence.
Do you think the kids knew that what was going on here and it had been rumbled about? I mean,
Fergie's and Andrew's kids?
Well, those kids seem to have been placed right in the middle of it, which we haven't even discussed. But
are you talking Harry and William?
Yeah, I wonder if those guys knew what was going on. They couldn't seem to. One of them could not wait to get away from his fake dad.
So think about Buckingham Palace, how it's laid out, the Secret Service, getting to know people. I'd be shocked if they didn't hear whispers of something from someone.
Yeah.
Just human nature. Wouldn't you?
I think that there was probably meetings about it with the family saying we have a problem on the horizon here.
And going back to King Charles, that means they would have met with him and he would have known about something.
Exactly. I don't think that this is everything that we know about the royal family is based on Andrew and now Sarah Ferguson and potentially their children. And that's it. But I have a feeling that we may see this dig a little deeper into cousins, extended family, and beyond in the royal family.
The arrest of Mendelssohn and his appointment by Keir Starmer, you are seriously, legitimately looking at the end of the Starmer government, a new government in England, and then the end of the royal family as we know it, and maybe a smaller, leaner royal family under potential King William.
How does the royal family come back and get any sort of glean ever again?
I don't know. I mean, if I'm the average person in England with a family and daughters, I can't look at them the same way anymore.
It almost crumbled under the resignation of a king.
Right.
So what will happen in a modern era where there's so much connectivity and so little respect for the monarchy?
The one thing the Crown, I think, depicted well is as much as Queen Elizabeth and her reign, it wasn't all roses. There were ups and downs. There were times where she wasn't, but I think at the end she went out with class and dignity and respect. But now, without her presence, I don't believe that the royal family is viewed the same way by people in England. It's just not.
Well, the one thing that I have learned about the royal family, really in my mind, the one takeaway that we can all guarantee ourselves of is that Andrew is a terrible liar. He lies worse than anybody I've ever seen. You can see he's never had to defend himself. You can see that he can spin any story he wants and expect everybody to take it.
They did.
His entitlement is next level, and he thinks in those terms. He's left himself unarmed in that way. If they let him speak for himself ever again in public, they'll be making a mistake.
And for people like me who believe in karma, I mean, there's a lot of karma, bad karma coming his way because of what he did all through his life.
I think once he starts talking, the karma is going to reach him. Don't worry.
I just don't see any scenario, Mike.
He's 3 or 4 names away from being karma'd,
but where he doesn't tell investigators everything about everyone to save his own hide. There's no way he could survive in a maximum security prison in England. Could you imagine?
Okay, my predictions for the next few weeks are that there's an actual arrest of the prince, former prince, Andrew Mountbatten, Windsor Mountbatten.
Another one? Arrested again?
I believe that he gets taken back into custody within the next week.
Okay.
I think that that's enough investigation for them to get to where they need to go. And they are trying to send a message, I think, to the world that they're dealing with this.
Without question. And the power brokers, the elite of the elites who are resigning in basically humiliation and embarrassment, stepping back from public office, stepping back from public view, who are falling on their sword, saying, hey, I'm named, that's me, and they can't deny it. That's where I feel the walls are closing in on people like Andrew and the royal family, Trump's administration, and anyone involved in it who kept trying to deny it. You can't.
Jim Lang named no less than 3 times in the Epstein files. I appreciate this conversation.
I don't believe that's true.
Maybe 4?